Hey everyone, and welcome to The Deep Dive. Today we're doing something a little bit special for all you Vintage Car Chronicles listeners out there. We're going to be taking a deep dive into the history of Bentley Motors.
All right.
Yeah, so we've got some really cool historical excerpts that we're going to be looking at and trying to piece together the fascinating and sometimes turbulent history of this iconic luxury car brand.
Yeah, I think what's always really interesting about Bentley is, it's a brand that is known for, opulence and high performance, but, the road to get there was anything but smooth. So we're going to kind of peel back the layers and look at, how they went through, periods of triumph and near collapse to become what they are today.
Okay, so let's fire up the engine here and let's travel back in time to 1919. That's when W.O. Bentley founded Bentley Motors. And obviously he was deeply passionate about engines and speed. But how did that translate into those early years of the company?
Well, I think that passion is really reflected in, his innovative spirit. Right from the get-go during World War I, he was a pioneer in using aluminum for pistons and SOP with camel aero engines,
Wow.
which was a pretty radical concept back then. Aluminum was a relatively new material for this application, but it resulted in these significantly lighter and more powerful engines. And after the war, he brought this groundbreaking technology to his automobiles.
And that's where things get really exciting for us car nerds here.
Yeah.
The first Bentley, the 3-liter, debuted in 1921. And this wasn't just a car, it was a statement.
Right.
I mean, we throw around that term game changer a lot, but this was truly a game changer.
It really challenged the norms, of automotive design and performance at the time. The 3 liters, powerful engine combined with its sleek lines and luxurious appointments, it really set a new standard for what a grand touring car could be. And it was a car that appealed to those who, sought both exhilarating performance and refined elegance.
And speaking of exhilarating performance, we can't overlook the legendary Bentley Boys, right? Those wealthy and audacious gentleman racers who became so synonymous with the brand's early success.
Oh, yeah.
What was it about these larger-than-life characters that, captured the public's imagination?
I think it was more than just being wealthy car enthusiasts. They really embodied a spirit of adventure and daring, that resonated with the public. And their flamboyant personalities and their relentless pursuit of victory, both on and off the racetrack, made them, cultural icons. They weren't afraid to push boundaries, both in terms of speed and style, and their exploits became legendary.
And those exploits really cemented Bentley's reputation as a force to be reckoned with on the world's most demanding endurance circuit. Their victories at Le Mans.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Le Mans is a 24-hour race
Grueling.
that tests both car and driver to their absolute limits.
Can you give us a sense of what it was like for the Bentley Boys to compete in and win this race? I mean, just imagine, the roar of the engines, the smell of burnt rubber and oil, the tense atmosphere in the pit lane as mechanics frantically, work to keep the cars running. It was a test of endurance strategy and sheer willpower. And the Bentley Boys, often driving for hours on end, battling fatigue, mechanical challenges, they pushed themselves and their machines to the brink. And their victories, often against, formidable competition, weren't just about speed. They were a testament to the reliability and craftsmanship of Bentley automobiles.
And that daring spirit extended beyond the racetrack as well. The story of Wolf Barnado and the Blue Train race is one for the ages.
Oh, yeah.
This guy made a wager that he could beat the famed Blue Train from Cannes to London in his Bentley Speed.
6.
Now that's something that requires not just a fast car, but nerves of steel.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just about speed either. It was about navigating winding roads, unpredictable weather conditions, and the pressure of a high-stakes bet. And, Barnado's victory arriving in London hours ahead of the train reaching Calais wasn't simply about, winning a race. It was about proving the superiority of Bentley's engineering and performance. It was a statement that resonated throughout the automotive world.
And it solidified Bentley's place in the public consciousness as this brand that dared to defy convention.
Right.
And push the boundaries of what was possible. The Bentley Boys were a captivating embodiment of that spirit.
They were.
But as we know, even the most legendary stories can take some pretty unexpected turns.
Indeed. The Roaring Twenties, a decade marked by Bentley's dominance on the racetrack, couldn't last forever.
Right.
The landscape was about to shift dramatically, and Bentley, like the rest of the world, would have to adapt to a new reality.
The exuberance of the Roaring Twenties, gave way to the stark realities of the Great Depression. The Wall Street crash of 1929 sent shockwaves through the global economy. And luxury brands like Bentley were hit particularly hard.
Yeah, it was It was a really sobering time for the automotive industry. The demand for, high-performance luxury cars just plummeted as people tightened their belts and focused on necessities. And for Bentley, which had built its reputation on catering to this discerning and affluent clientele, the economic downturn posed a significant threat.
So how did Bentley navigate this turbulent period? I mean, I imagine it's been a really challenging time for W.O. Bentley, who had poured his heart and soul into building this brand that was synonymous with speed and luxury.
Well, yeah, it was a pivotal moment for the company. Faced with mounting financial pressures and dwindling sales, Bentley was forced to make a very difficult decision. In 1931, the company was acquired by its rival Rolls-Royce.
That must have been a tough pill to swallow for W.O. Bentley. It wasn't just a business deal. It was a clash of philosophies, Bentley, with its focus on raw power and performance.
Right.
And Rolls-Royce, known for its refined elegance and almost silent operation.
You hit the nail on the head. The acquisition marked a significant shift in Bentley's trajectory. Under Rolls-Royce's stewardship, Bentley transitioned from a purely performance-focused marque to a producer of what they termed silent sports cars.
Wow.
The emphasis shifted towards luxurious comfort and refined engineering qualities that were hallmarks of the Rolls-Royce brand.
So did Bentley just become like a rebadged Rolls-Royce? Were they sacrificing their unique identity just to survive?
It's a question that's been debated by automotive historians and enthusiasts for years. While there's no denying that some models from this era shared design elements and engineering with their Rolls-Royce counterparts, it's an oversimplification to say that Bentley became merely a badge-engineered version of its new parent company.
Okay.
Rolls-Royce recognized the value of the Bentley name and its sporting heritage, and they sought to maintain a distinction between the two brands, albeit a more subtle one.
It sounds like a very delicate balancing act. Trying to preserve Bentley's sporting spirit while embracing the, more refined characteristics of Rolls-Royce. Were there any specific design or engineering choices that reflected this new direction?
Well, the move to standard steel bodies was a significant change.
Okay.
Previously, Bentley, like many luxury car manufacturers of the time, relied on coach builders to create bespoke bodies for their chassis.
Right.
This resulted in a wide variety of styles and configurations, but it was also a time-consuming and expensive process.
Yeah.
The adoption of standard steel bodies, a practice already embraced by Rolls-Royce, allowed for greater efficiency in production and a more streamlined aesthetic.
So it was driven by a need for efficiency and maybe also like a nod to the changing tastes of the market. But what about production itself? Didn't the acquisition lead to a change in where Bentleys were built?
That's right. Production moved to Crewe, a town in Cheshire, England. Initially, this move was prompted by wartime necessities. Rolls-Royce needed a shadow factory to produce their Merlin Aero engines, and Crewe, with its skilled workforce and access to transportation networks, was an ideal location. And after the war, Crewe became the new home for Bentley production.
So wartime necessity paved the way for this long-term change in Bentley's manufacturing base. It's interesting how these external factors can sometimes shape a company's destiny. But even amidst these significant changes, there were still hints of Bentley's performance heritage peeking through, right?
Absolutely. The development of the Continental model in the late 1950s was a testament to Bentley's enduring commitment to creating cars that were both luxurious and capable of exhilarating performance. Designed specifically for grand touring across Europe, the Continental offered a blend of power, comfort, and style that appealed to a discerning clientele. It was a car that could effortlessly devour long stretches of Autobahn while cosseting its occupants in luxurious surroundings.
The Continental almost seems like this bridge between Bentley's past and its future, a hint at the direction that the brand would eventually take. While the Rolls-Royce era may have initially seemed like a departure from Bentley's original ethos, it was perhaps like a necessary detour.
Right.
A period of adaptation and evolution that ultimately laid the groundwork for a revival.
Precisely. The seeds for Bentley's resurgence were sown during this period. The lessons learned, the engineering advancements, and the subtle shifts in brand identity all played a role in shaping Bentley's future success.
The 1980s brought a new era for Bentley, right? A period of revitalization and a return to its performance roots. Under the ownership of Vickers, the brand was trying to recapture the spirit of those early days, those thrilling years when the Bentley Boys dominated the racetrack.
Yeah, it was definitely a conscious effort to reclaim Bentley's heritage as a manufacturer of powerful and luxurious grand touring cars. Vickers recognized that while the Rolls-Royce era had brought a certain level of refinement and elegance to the brand, it had also somewhat muted the raw power and sporting spirit that had once defined Bentley.
So how did they go about reviving this legendary marque? Was it a matter of revisiting classic designs or developing entirely new models that embodied that blend of power and luxury?
It was a little bit of both. It was a multifaceted approach that involved both paying homage to Bentley's past and embracing new technologies and design philosophies. A pivotal moment in this revival was the launch of the Mulsanne Turbo in 1982.
Oh, yeah.
This was a car that signaled a return to Bentley's high-performance heritage. Its powerful, turbocharged engine delivered exhilarating acceleration, while its luxurious interior provided the comfort and refinement expected of a Bentley.
It sounds like the Mulsanne Turbo was a statement car, a bold declaration that Bentley was back in the game, ready to compete at the highest level of the luxury performance market. How did the public respond to this reimagining of the Bentley brand?
The response was overwhelmingly positive. Car enthusiasts and luxury buyers alike were drawn to the Mulsanne Turbo's blend of power, prestige, and exclusivity. It reignited interest in the brand, attracting a new generation of buyers who appreciated Bentley's unique blend of performance and luxury. It was a pivotal step in reestablishing Bentley as a force to be reckoned with in the automotive world.
And this resurgence in popularity kind of paved the way for another significant chapter in Bentley's history. The acquisition by Volkswagen in 1998. And this wasn't just a change in ownership, it was a strategic move by Volkswagen to expand its presence in the luxury car market.
Absolutely. Volkswagen saw the immense potential of the Bentley brand and was willing to invest heavily to ensure its success. They poured resources into modernizing the crew factory, expanding production capacity, and attracting top talent to the engineering and design teams. This was a clear indication of Volkswagen's long-term commitment to Bentley's growth and development.
And one of the most significant outcomes of this investment was the launch of the Continental GT in 2003. This wasn't just a new car. It was a reimagining of the grand touring concept for the 21st century.
The Continental GT was a game-changer for Bentley. It was a sleek, powerful, and technologically advanced coupe that appealed to a broader audience without compromising Bentley's core values of luxury and performance. It became a global success, attracting a new generation of buyers who appreciated its blend of style, performance, and exclusivity.
The success of the Continental GT really paved the way for an expansion of the Bentley model range,
Right.
including the luxurious flying spur sedan and a new iteration of the flagship Mulsanne, further solidifying Bentley's position as a leading luxury car manufacturer. And then in 2015, Bentley kind of ventured into uncharted territory with the launch of the Bentayga, its first SUV.
Yeah, the Bentayga marked a significant departure for Bentley, a move into a market segment that was experiencing rapid growth. Some question whether an SUV could truly embody the Bentley ethos of performance and luxury, but the Bentayga quickly silenced its critics. It offered a unique blend of off-road capability, exhilarating performance, and unparalleled luxury, proving that Bentley could successfully adapt to evolving market trends while staying true to its core values.
And as we move further into the 21st century, Bentley faces a new set of challenges and opportunities, particularly as the automotive industry shifts towards electrification and sustainability. What does the future hold for this iconic brand?
Well, Bentley has already made a bold commitment to go fully electric by 2030, signaling its dedication to a sustainable future. They're investing heavily in developing new electric vehicle platforms and battery technologies while ensuring that these future models retain the performance, luxury, and craftsmanship that define the Bentley brand.
So it seems that Bentley, a brand with a rich and often turbulent history, is once again at a crossroads. But if history has taught us anything, it's that Bentley's a brand that embraces challenges, adapts to changing times, and ultimately emerges stronger and more innovative. What stands out to you as we look back at this remarkable journey? What do you think will be the key to Bentley's continued success in this new era of automotive evolution?
I think what's really fascinating is to see how Bentley, despite facing periods of uncertainty and change, has always remained true to its core values. A commitment to performance, luxury, and craftsmanship. These values have been woven into the very fabric of the brand since its inception and will continue to guide its future. Whether it was the daring exploits of the Bentley Boys or the groundbreaking technology of the Continental GT, Bentley has always pushed boundaries and challenged conventions. It's this spirit of innovation coupled with a deep respect for its heritage that I believe will be the key to Bentley's enduring success.
Well, there you have it, Vintage Car Aficionados. A deep dive into the remarkable history of Bentley Motors, a brand that has navigated triumphs and challenges, always striving to deliver an unparalleled blend of performance, luxury, and craftsmanship. We've explored its early days of race and glory, the transformative Rolls-Royce era, the resurgence under Vickers, and the modern-day success under Volkswagen. We've witnessed its evolution from a purveyor of raw power to a creator of refined, grand touring machines and now its embrace of a sustainable electric future. A huge thank you to all you Vintage Car Chronicles listeners for joining us on this captivating journey through the history of Bentley Motors. We hope you've enjoyed the ride. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow for another installment of Vintage Car Chronicles, your daily dose of all things vintage cars.